Hello FlossTube, welcome back to my wee channel. This is Expanding Stitches. My name is Martina and this is a channel about cross stitch, a little bit of quilting and showing some of my vintage treasures that I find along my travels. So if you're new here, welcome. I'd suggest you go back and watch some of the other videos. This is my 8th one now. The last one was super long because I hadn't been here for a while. And I do tend to babble and talk a lot. Normally I try to put a video out every 2 weeks. I keep promising every week and then life gets in the way. So this one is also late because, well, a lot of things happened with family members in the last week and rushed into hospital, etc., severely dehydrated, gastroenteritis, ulcers, you name it, and it was quite a worrying time. And I just wasn't as chatty as I normally am, so I thought just hold back until you're things are looking better and they're hopefully getting back on their feet again now. They've got all the right treatment and medication and everything else, so that's good. It's always hard when you're an older person trying to cope with everything, and the same person had gone through cancer treatment already and just finished it, so it was quite hard. But onwards and upwards, keep on a positive note, and yeah, that's enough about that. So sorry about the delay. All right, movie stills. So I released it Etsy, I think it was 10 days ago approximately now, and this is the video to talk about it actually. My new cross stitch chart, and it's #1 in the Flagpole series. So I've created the design that it goes on a little flagpole. So whoops, there's the flagpole. Now this one I made myself. But you can buy little flagpoles ready-made on Amazon or even on Etsy, I'm sure. And you can pop it on it. And I've got the PDF is in my Etsy shop. I'll show you in a second. So in my Etsy Expanding Stitches shop, let me just pop that down. I've got so much stuff here that it's fallen all over the place. So that's the chart in my Etsy shop. It's the 2021 Patriotic House and Home, USA. And it's #1 in the Flagpole series. It's not the best photo looking back. My neighbor told me that she thought the background was awfully busy. But it was the best I could do, sort of. I'm no photographer. But yeah, if you go to Expanding Stitches on Etsy, you can get the PDF download, and whoops, sorry for the wobble, I just banged the table. And this time I've done it so that it's available in A4 and also in letter size to print out. And I'm talking to a couple of distributors still in the States about getting hard copies, but we'll get those out. But yeah, so this is the little design, and I just made it. It's awful simple what I did. It was just a wee bit of block of wood that I drilled a hole into, and if I drilled the hole straight it would have been good because the flagpole's a bit skew-iff, but I was impatient to get it done. And so there's the chart, Patriotic, and it's to give, I had the idea in my head all along, so I wanted this to kind of look like a little flag all the way around. So you've got the red, there's white here that might not be showing up because it's, there you go, you can see it up the side. It's late in the evening here. It's actually 5:20, so the sun is going slowly down, so the lighting might be a bit crazy. But you've got your Patriotic home and this little house with the balcony with the flowers, the door, the little baskets, the steps, there's flowers in the baskets, there's like sets of French doors or big windows, and I just really love it. And then you've got the eagle, and that eagle was, oh my lord, I had designed the eagle on using the software, and then I went stitching it and I didn't like it, so I think I ripped out that eagle and did it about 3 times, but I really like the way it came out now. And there's a little star, and you could backstitch the white if you wanted to. This is done on 36 count parchment by Weeks Dye Works, and yeah, you could even go a bit darker if you want the white to pop a little bit more. And the eagle is holding a little rose, and I realized that the rose is, well, Ronald Reagan apparently picked the rose as the symbol for the states in America, for the overall states. I know every state's got different flowers. So I thought for the first one, yeah, I'll just put in the little rose. And but I have also, people were saying they wanted carnations, the American carnation. So I've done a nod to the wee carnations gone up the vine because they're yellow and orange. Is that focusing? It's maybe a little bit blurry. But the yellow and orange going up the flagpole. And the flagpole, that was fun doing that one. It's actually got all the states in there. So with the little X's, I was playing around trying to get all the states in, especially for the first one. And then 2021. And this house is actually based on a house that's not far from me here. Not the color red. I thought the red would be nice for being patriotic. So it's the perfect for 4th of July or any of the celebrations in the States. And I've got family in the States. So, and there's a huge Irish community because I'm Irish over in the States anyway. So there's always been close ties between America and Ireland. And I just wanted to give a little tribute to America and create something that I think is pretty special. And I love it on the flagpole. So I did that. So the little flag is waving in the wind. And that's the little house. So, and the colors are quite unusual. I had fun picking this, but I knew what I wanted when I was designing it. So I think it's come out really cute. And I deliberately left the rose without the fill in. I was going to fill it in a pink first of all. And then I thought, no, I think I prefer it. And then there's the little star. And I played around with the color, the Weeks Dye Works in the star. There aren't that many colors. On this 36 count, I think I only used a skein of the blue and a skein of the red, maybe not even that. Well, we can see when I show you the flosses in a moment for it. And I'll come back and talk to you in a minute. And then I made the little rope. I had my first go at doing twisted rope, or piping, I think that's the word you call for it. Yeah, so I did a little red, white and blue piping just to add it up, and then just tied a couple of little pieces on. And I can, in the pattern is a little bit longer pages wise because I've given you how I made the flagpole and how I attached it on, because there's little hooks. Don't know if you can see them. They're a little triangle. Anyway, I get a piece of card. Whoops. It's hard doing this when you've only got 2 hands. You can see there are little hooks just about, oh, stop wobbling, just about there. You'll see them. They're little triangle hooks, and I'll show you those in a moment. And that's how I mounted it to it, and I'll talk about that in a second. But what I found was very interesting. Oh yeah, on the back I just have some patriotic stars. As a fabric, it's a flat mount, so I use sticky board and matte board and glue those together, and then I actually stitched all the way around the side. I give those details in the pattern. You don't have to stitch all the way around the side if you glue well enough, but I would suggest stitching here to keep the little hooks in if you use those, or the plate holders. And then that little cap on the top is actually little caps you can get for covering bowls and nuts, and you can get them in different colors. You know, you could do your wee flagpole or buy a ready-made flagpole any way you like. But going back to the flag, I thought everyone, from what I know, and because I'm not American, so I haven't, you know, picked up on all the information that you would from a child, schools or whatever, but you see so much red, white and blue. And initially when I was doing this, I was thinking, should I start with the red, do white, do blue? But then I went on to the official website, because in my opinion, flags are quite important and you don't want to get them wrong or do something wrong. And I went into the US Departments of Veterans Affairs, and I found out something interesting. It was information on the flags, actually. Is there another page floating around? No, it must be this one. And how the flag is hung. Excuse me while I look at my notes now. But what I found really interesting was, and I found this in many other forums and things, was if you're using a bunting, like you see the, you know, the little pennies, the wee penny round things for bunting that you see in photos, etc. Well, if you notice that a lot of the time the blue is in the middle, and then there's the white, and then there's the red. And I found, I just printed this one off, excuse me. I found this, that it's, if you're using the colors of the flag, apparently, it says draped red, white, and blue bunting should be used for decoration, with the blue at the top and the red at the bottom. So you always put the, well, apparently, whoops, going, sorry about that, going for, as I said, I didn't make this the steadiest little flagpole, but when you display the different colors, apparently from websites that I've read, like the official ones, you should have the bunting or the blue closest to the top if it isn't a flag, and then the white, and then the red. And I thought that was interesting, because you automatically think red, white, and blue, and you'll display it that way. So as a nod to be careful and to respect those rules, I started off with the blue up at the top, and then did blue, white, and red. And it's the same, it's red, white, and blue all over. And the same obviously with the flag, and there's the 13 stripes and all of the flag in there, so the flag is quite accurate. But I think it turned out lovely. And then just the simple little border, it just creates the little effect of a flag. You could, if you wanted to add piping along the edges, it would also look cute. Oh, that's the word I wanted. Yeah, there's piping, the little rope. But I wanted to get this finished and photographed, and I thought actually it might be enough just having the little effect of the little flag flying in the wind. So this is the first one, and I'm delighted with it. And don't fall down on me. And I'll just show you some of the colors. They're mainly DMC. A couple of the colors you're actually only using in the little flower baskets. So you've only got a couple of stitches. You know, when you look in close in here in the little flower baskets, you've got a couple of pinks and a couple of other little colors. They're literally only a couple of stitches, but and excuse the tangle on this. I'm still haven't got my thread drops. I want to get some thread drops on Etsy or somewhere, and I will get a bundle of them actually, so that I could put stuff on them. Even I know you can make them yourself, and I tried, but I think some of the nice pretty ones would be lovely. So there's a Weeks Dye Works in here. It's the Weeks Dye Works squash, and I used that for the carnations. Did I say geraniums early? Carnations, because it's got a slight little variegation in it, and it's quite cute. There's DMC. I used two colors of reds in the chart. I used Turkish red from Weeks Dye Works, just that one. Oh, it doesn't really show up quite, so it's got a nice dark little red coming through. It's not too bad. It's not quite, it's a bit pinkier there now, but actually in reality it's probably the lighting in the evening here. In reality it's, oh no, that looks even more pinky. In reality it's quite a darker. Maybe that would look a bit better. It's quite a darkish red. And then for the house part, I used hollyberry, which is paler, but you can see you can see it in the chart that it doesn't look, you can see the colors a little bit more. You see how darker that's going with the red. Maybe if I turn it that way, you can see it a little bit better. And then the holly, just to give, and there's also a DMC for just around the windows, etc. So there's not that many flosses that you use. Stay still. You use all the time, you know, a lot of. There's only a couple of a little scattering of colors, but they've come out really pretty. And look, yeah, I know, look at the state of it, but it's the colors are really, really pretty. It turns out really cute. So you've got, oh yeah, you've got a little bit of Dublin grey as well in the roof, which is that pretty color there. Am I focusing? Not so well. Okay. So yeah, but I really love it. I think it's really cool. And I used a dowel rod to make the little flagpole, a centimeter diameter dowel rod, and just a little block of wood that I drilled a hole on, and then popped some wood oil. But there are full instructions in the PDF on how I made it. I tried to make them not too long. I thought it started off about like pages long, and then I realized, no, Martina, you're not doing the process step by step. So I think it's just 1 page of instructions on just how I made the whole, did the wee flat fold and put it together, and how I've attached these as well. And the little hooks that I'll show you, they're actually, sit there. Let me just pop this over. As I said, if I'll pop this over here, if I'd actually put it on, put the flagpole in, that it was straight. There you go. It was, yeah, you see, you can tell it's a bit skew with the way I've hung it, but not to worry. It's if I had put it in properly, drilled the hole in, then it would be straight. But that's the dowel rod that I used, the piece of it. This one was a bit bendy. But if you didn't, you're not good with DIY or don't have someone that can drill a hole, because you need to drill a hole, obviously, the thickness of this, which is a centimeter. And that's why mine went a wee bit skew-if, because I didn't want to get out the big drill and drill it in. So I kind of put a size 10 drill bit into the hand drill and was roaring away, and it wasn't even a wood drill, so it kind of went a bit skewy. But you could just, for example, put it into, take the lid of a jam jar, put some stones or pebbles or sand. You need a bit of support, or even put a hole in the jam jar and pop it into it and use that as a base if you didn't have a flagpole. Or I've been collecting these because I just thought they're so pretty. I love marbles. I've got quite a few little marbles, and I just think they're so decorative, and I get so inspired by the colors on them. And then I found this, I don't know whether it's a little vase or a little ice bucket, but it's all little bubbles. You can see the little bubbles, and I just thought it looked like marbles. And so I store some of my marbles in here with a little glass topper lid thing. I think it's a little glass coaster. It's a good clean, and it stops the dust going on them. But you could very easily just something like that, that's like marbles or stones, that'll give it a bit of a support the length, and then just pop it all the way down. Let me just do that a wee bit. Bear with me without having marbles flying all over the room. So there you go. And it would keep it, because there's not a lot of weight in that little flagpole at all. So you see, you could do something like that, if you were just wanting to whip one up. Or as I said, you can buy flagpoles online, and in the instructions, in the PDF, all the measurements are given and what I used. And the little hooks that I used, they're actually called they're actually these little things, and they're called, I just moved the floss over there out of the way. They're actually these, and they're over here. We use them for like little light picture hooks. They're sticky. It's actually on a kind of a sticky linen for strength, these little hooks here. And I think they're called plate holders as well. And we can get them over here in Berlin everywhere. I mean, in a DIY store. That's the 45mm one I use. It doesn't really matter. You just want, of the size of the paper, you just want to be able to glue it in between the matte board and the sticky board, and I use sticky board. So you can see here, because I say in the PDF, I'll explain quite a bit in this video. Whoops, I'm swinging around. You can use the little hooks, and that's how you can, I was able to tie it on. Now, there's another option that might be handy is if you use the little hooks the same way, instead of trying to tie them on, and so, you know, it swings if it's not sitting in the right sort of, well, at least mine one does because I didn't tie it on very tight. You could put on the back a row of little magnets, so then you're not trying to match up exactly where they are, but say a couple of the little round strong magnets, the really strong ones, couple there, a couple here that would still be hidden, or a strong strip magnet maybe, and then that'll just butt up against the back, so it'll actually be closer in, you won't have a gap, but that will hold it really securely as well. And as I said, if you just pop a little weight on the bottom, or you weigh down your little flagpole, if it's not very steady, I would have, the next time I would have done a bigger base and put some weight on it. But I really wanted to get this finished and released. And there's plenty of time to stitch it by 4th of July. It doesn't take long. It's 110 wide by 111 high. And I said I stitched it 1/1 on 36 count parchment. So that's 16 count Aida, 18 count Aida will give you about the same size. So it's approximately a little bit over 6 and a bit inches square on this count. If you go for a lower count, and then it'll be bigger, and if you go up to 40 count, it'll be even smaller. And you could always stitch 1/1 if you want to be really adventurous. There's hardly any back stitch. There's only just a little bit of back stitch here where the little flag attaches to the pole. There's 2 stitches, and you can outline the eagles, the white, a little bit if you want to. But that's pretty much all the back stitch. The rest of it is all cross stitch. And you could back stitch the house and the windows and everything else yourself if you wanted to. But I really do like it, and I hope you do too. Please do leave a comment in the comments below if you like it. So what I did as well was for attaching it to the flagpole, what I actually used, I was trying to, you can tie it on, it's not a problem, but you might be able to see it there, the little black thing, and I only had black ones. You can get other colors as well. Let me just pop that on there. Stay, and of course it doesn't want to stay. A moment. Yay. I used they're actually just washers, so I should just prop this over here. Let me just fix that it just stays in place. Okay, I'll just prop it up against here for now, because as I said, my base is a little bit wobbly, and if I put the flagpole in straight, then I wouldn't be having this problem of it tipping over. And also it's been an eventful week, so I'm amazed that I'm able to talk. I wasn't really able to talk the last week much, which is unusual for me, as I talk the hind leg of a donkey. So I thought I'll wait until things are a lot better, and then a lot better health-wise for the family member, and then I'll fill you in on my redesign. So yeah, so a little tiny O-ring. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, yeah, okay, I'll get a bigger one and show you. They look like that. They're O-rings, or washers, you can sometimes call them. And what I did was, I'll show you on a bigger one. Obviously, this wouldn't be the size you would use. I actually used one that will fit a little bit bigger than the dowel rod, so that when you loop it over and twist it round, that it'll fit. Oh, it's hard to see. Okay, so a little bit bigger than that, but that has got a bit of a stretch in it. So what I did was, and I'll show you on I'll ignore the size of this now. You've got your little hook in between your board glued in. So it's sitting in between the two boards, and it's all finished up and stitched, and now you want to attach it. Well, what I actually did was I took the little O-ring and I squeezed it together like that. And it's hard doing this when you've only got two hands. And then I looped it through the little hook. So it looks like that. You can see. Yeah, I think you can. Put it in front of my face, it'd be even better. And then up at the very top, so then I pulled it tight like this. So it's like that now. And then I just looped over on the top of the dowel rod. So imagine this is my hand is the little flat mount. I just looped one ring over like this, looped the other loop of the O-ring over the top like that. So there you go. Now this is a big O-ring to be trying to do this with. The little one is much easier. And then so when you have the smaller one, it'll stay upright. And then it'll catches the little hook like that, and it'll stay upright. And then I just push this down and did the same with the other one. Now that O-ring is a bit too big to show, but at least you can see it. The little O-ring I used was this size. So you can see compare the two sizes. That's the diameter of that one, and I used this little one here. And it was quite stretchy, so I was able to loop it round and then just fiddle it in and then just push it down. And then I just tied a little bit of piping across the top. But yeah, so we just squeeze it through, loop it through. But an even easier way there's less movement is to just glue some magnets on the back and use the little hooks to attach it, or you could use something like these. You could stitch these in, and these are the little, they come in different sizes, but they're like little Velcro strip things. So you could attach in one to the into the piece, and then Velcro it around the little flagpole. It ties on with a little Velcro. They've got grip on one side, so you can catch them wherever you want. They're little tie things, and that will really hold it really securely as well. So there are lots of options. Of course, I didn't think of these when I was mounting it, but I'm still quite pleased with the way that turned out. So I think that's it. And as I said, I just ran a little bit of the cord up the top to give the effect of a little, you know, the string, or the what's it called? I wrote it in the chart. Hartley. Let me just see. What was it called? There's a name. I looked it up about flagpoles. There was a name for. So yeah, you can see I've even put a picture of the little plate hanger and everything in here. It's as a filial on the top, and then what was that called? Halyard. That's the word. To create the effect of a halyard. Halyard is the name for the string on a flagpole. So I learned something new as well by doing this. So there you go. That's Patriotic House and Home USA 2021. So I think that's it. And if you have any questions or you're making it up, it's available on my Etsy store as a PDF download, either A4 or a letter size, and the chart is nice and big. They're only, every page has only got 60 little boxes going across, so you can read them really well. So I'll just pop that there. There we go. And Patriotic House Home. So, right, that's that little bit done. But I do like it. I think it's really cute, and I hope you do too. And please support my little business. I'd really appreciate it by buying the charts in Etsy. Oh, it is getting a little bit darker now, the lighting. Not to worry. So I'll move that out of the way. So where was I? Oh yeah, I'll show you some of the cording actually I made when I was picking out cording. I had fun. I used the Krynic maker, and I've also got a Lacey's gadget. If you look in Country Stitchers, Deb and Liz, they did a whole tutorial on making cording and rope. So I had great fun playing around. I made this little one. It's like a little candy cane. I made, oh gosh, we are getting dark. Maybe I'll put on a light on the back. Wow. Does that help a little bit? Maybe not. Oh well. Okay, we'll be seeing it in a little bit of darkness. Okay, so I made this little one, which is also like red, white and blues. There. And a bundle of them really. So I had great fun making a load of cording. I did a couple of ribbons thrown in there as well, but some of them turned out really pretty, like that little one there. Whoops, too high in red. Not focusing so well. It's one of those days. There you go. Now you can see it a little bit. So yeah, I had fun. It's a bit addictive, because when you do one, and then you want to see, oh, I wonder what this would look like, and what would that look like, and all the different threads you can use, and the change you get if you use a couple of strands. It was really good fun. So that's that bunting. That's that out of the way. Good. Now, what do I have next? Oh yes, I'll show you. Oh, right again. Okay, I'll show you whips, I guess. Or actually, I'll show you a finish first. So in my last couple of videos, I've been talking about Birdsong 1 by the Prairie Schooler, and I was doing the chart here, and I switched over to anchor flosses on it, and I'm stitching it on I stitched it on a Lugana, and I haven't trimmed down the piece. I actually might have enough space on the other side for the second one, but yeah, I have a finish. So there we go, Birdsong 1, and I think it's turned out really cute. I changed the colors of the flosses a little bit because I wanted some of the colors to kind of pop out a little bit more. But and I decided to keep the dark brown and the tree stump that I put in by mistake, instead of putting in the other color brown. I already stitched loads of it. But there we go. I'm not sure if I checked the camera if there's reverse images, but yeah, forgive me, I should be back to normal in a couple of weeks, and I'll be more organized. But that's Prairie Schooler Birdsong 1. Isn't it pretty? I think it's turned out so lovely. And it's 2 over 2, so 2 strands of floss over 2 stitches. And this is, I think I'm stitching it on 25 count Lugana. It's either 25 or 28. I can go and measure it up. But I'm delighted, so I think it's going to look really pretty. And I think I'll have it as a hanging finish. I'm not sure yet how I'll do it, or I might just wait and stitch the other one on the other side. We'll see. So that's Birdsong 1. So that was because I was doing a lot of stitching in the last week. as you know, it's really relaxing. So yeah, I was thrilled about that, to have that finished. And then whips, I opened up this one. I'm nearly finished. I haven't got much more to do on this one either. And of course I was stitching that wee one up, but that one didn't take too long. It was, what's always slow with designing is, I find, is testing out the threads and seeing which colors go, because on software, yeah, you think what you think works on software doesn't work in reality, or vice versa. So you spend quite a bit of time picking out the threads and the flosses and making sure they show side by side and that the colors are there. Like you can, for example, in the eagle's wings, there are actually 3 colors in here. There's a dark and a brown. You can't see it so much, but there's a really dark, another brown, and then the lighter one, just for the effect of the wing, that you get the look. So you spend quite a lot of time trying to, and there's so many different colors of, you know, what would work for the kind of shadowing. And I love that part. It's just, it's really enjoyable doing that. That's the fun of designing, in a sense, as well, but it does slow you down a little bit. But this is the one I'm stitching by Blackbird Designs, and I'm glad I started it, as well as a nod to Brenda. That's got Brenda, the cereal starter. She's got health issues, and there's a Sal, which is, oh gosh, I'll see if I can find it in the notes. Brendan Stitching for Brenda, the hashtag on Instagram, something like that. I'll look it up if mine's gone blank. So that's Spell of the Moon by Blackbird Designs, and this is where I am, and I'm using my own coffee tea dyed linen. It's a 32 count, and I'll just take the needle out of the back, put it over to the side a little bit. And this is where I am at the moment. I'm testing out this yellow floss because I've changed the colors. I'm doing it with Anchor 382, which is a dark brown. It's kind of like, because it called for a classic Colorbooks or a Weeks, and I decided to use up some of my Anchor threads. And yeah, and I'm actually stitching it over 2/2. I think I started stitching it 1/2, and somewhere along the way, I think when I started down here, I left it for a couple of days, and I picked it up and it automatically started doing 2/2. But if there is any difference, I think it's only slight, that you'd notice it, because I hadn't much done. But I like the way it's coming out. So then there's just really the moon and a bit of fill in and the grays and things to do. But yeah, I think it's quite cute. So I like the way that one's turning out. So that's Spell of the Moon. And I didn't start my Hate that I mentioned in my last video, which is the Heaven and Earth Designs one, the Quilts of Cape Cod, because I think I'd like to try to get some easy count. So I had ordered it, and then the delivery person said they'd run out of it in my order, so I need to reorder that and see. But I have a new start, and what I started is, and I changed it up last night. I only started this the night before last, and I showed it. I showed the chart in my last video, and it's a Lizzie Kate's ABC Lessons. Hopefully the camera's not showing backwards, but if you want to see it again, look back in the video before this, number 7. But I've decided to change it up completely, because instead of the called for floss for the writing, I've gone completely wild, because I bought a little bit of silk from Silks For You, and I really, in my kind of colors, and I really wanted to try to see what silk is like to stitch with, because I'd never tried it. And it was a case of, I have a couple of monochromatic patterns on the go, One of them is actually Cambodian inspired, from the hillside tribes up on the borders of Cambodia, Laos and China, and some of their needlework that I've still got to show, some of the pieces that I've got from them. Excuse me, I'll just take a drink, my voice is getting croaky. That I bought years ago when I was traveling and backpacking up through there. But I came across this, I saw this floss and I thought, well, I'll buy a little skein of it. I bought a hank of a beautiful green. Where's my little piece of paper gone now? There it is. And it's this color here, and it's silk. Isn't that? Oh, that's showing really true to color now. That's cool. So I decided to start. So I've only popped in a couple of stitches. Ignore the chaos on the Q snap. It's the one on the Lowry stand beside my bed. So, and I couldn't be bothered going downstairs to go and get the other magnet thing. So there's a load of huggers around. And I've just started stitching. So I'm at the blessings. I'm over here. Started up on there. I've left myself loads of room around the side. So I'm just here, and I've literally only thrown in a couple of stitches, and I don't know what other colors I'm going to use with it, but I quite like how it's going to pop on that fabric, which is unusual because that's a sort of a warm, and then you're going with these blues, but these blues they've underlying warmth. They're beautiful. They're some of my favorite blues and turquoises, and yeah, there's turquoise in here, and there's like a cornflower blue. It's beautiful. So it's a silk, and oh, I had to laugh. I was pulling out a needle the other night, and I didn't want to go rummaging for a needle, and I pulled out a tapestry petite, and it's tiny. It's absolutely tiny. So I'm trying that for the first time, which is definitely different, because I'm so used to holding a longer needle that you find yourself, you're pushing it through the fabric, and then it's nearly like it's disappeared again. Excuse me. But oh wow, silk. Yeah, it's beautiful to stitch with. I mean, wow. I can understand where they say it's like butter. What I thought was it's a little bit like when you go to the hairdresser, and I did get to the hairdresser 2 weeks ago, which I was delighted about. I got all the dead broken bits all chopped off, and got a couple of highlights thrown in, though it's really natural because my hair will go blondie in the summer anyway, and we figured it would help cover some of the grey that comes through. But it's a bit like when you come out of a really nice hairdresser, and your hair's all silky and smooth and shiny, and oh, you just like, if you don't put a lot of hairspray and stuff on it, but that lovely softness. Well, stitching with silk is like that kind of feeling. Whereas then I go home and wash my hair, and then it's not quite so silky and shiny. But that it is true that it goes through the fabric like butter. So yeah, so that's ABC lesson. So I'm going to really enjoy stitching all the words. I'm going to stitch all the words first, and then go back and do the like little fill on the colors. You can see where there's little colors in the background filling. I don't know why this isn't focusing so well today. I mustn't have pressed something. Anyway, okay. So that's that. Well, I won't keep you very long today. I'll show you, where are we now? I didn't make notes today, so I'm literally just grabbed a load, piled up at the desk, and popped everything here. I can show you a little bit of haul. I think that's all where I am on the whips and finishes. Yeah, the Aida I want to start, the Litty Kate, and I'm also going to start another chart as well to be stitching, as well as the next design in my pattern. My first sampler that I showed in the video, I'm charting that up at the moment. I'm just pulling floss as I go against the fabric, so that I've kind of got the flosses already down at the beginning of reproducing the sampler, so it makes it easier than having to go back in and change all the thread colors again. So I'm quite pleased about that. Tiny little bit of haul, nothing's bumped. I haven't been out in the shops. I got to a garden centre to get a couple of plants, and I got to the hairdresser, and that's pretty much been it for leaving outside the house. You still need to get a corona test here in Berlin to go into any of the shops, so you have to get one done at one of the, you can't do a home test, and they send it through to you, and then you can go and visit companies, etc. Doctors, you don't need one to go to, and you don't need one to travel on the trains or public transport, but kind of for shopping and things you do, and they're only valid for 24 hours. They have to be up to date, so it's a bit of a palaver really, but I can understand why people need it. There are other areas in other states that are doing things a little bit differently. But my first haul came through. Now, I've been trying to get this about 6 or 7 times. And finally it came, actually 3 of them came from Amazon, because I did 3 different orders trying to get it and I wasn't going to cancel them. Deb and Liz from Country Stitches mentioned it in their Gadget Corner a couple of videos ago, I think maybe 4 videos ago, 5 videos ago. And it's a fabric gauge. Now, I have a load of other fabric gauges, and this one's from Yarn Tree, and oh, this is the best one yet. It is so simple. It is fantastic. If you've got a piece of linen or that you don't know, or in even weave that you don't know what it is, and what you do is you line up the vertical line where the stitching starts, and you stitch 10 stitches. And then you match the lines with the diameter of the stitches. So for example, I did it on, where's that? Here. And that's really handy for me, because I was finding it really hard with the other ones where they've got all the little lines and you're trying to line the threads up with the little lines of the little holes. And even with high magnification, I was going skew whiff. So this, all I did was pop in 10 little stitches on this, then you line this up to the right of where your stitching starts. Just do that, and you move down. Let me just see. So you move up and down until it fits into that little ladder, you could say. So you see that one's over, so we know it's not 20 count. So it's, and I'm doing 2 over 2, so it is, I think it's about 18 count fits in. And you can see what the count of your fabric is. That's about right. It's 18 count, but that's 2 over 2, so that would be 36 count. Which I think is brilliant. If you were doing it 1 over 1, it would be way up here, above the 32s. But over 2, then it's that. And they're fantastic, and they're really reasonable, and they're just a little card, and so they're really handy to carry around. I would highly recommend them. Sadly, Yarn Tree weren't shipping. I tried to order it from their website directly in the States, but they weren't shipping through America. I got mine on Amazon, so I think it was €5 or something, but I think it's the best. Absolutely fantastic, so I highly recommend it. Thank you, Deb and Liz, Country Stitches on FlossTube. If you don't know them, please go over and subscribe to their channel, and if you please subscribe to my channel as well, but I would highly recommend watching them. And also Niecy Lynn again, I just sent her a wee gift to the Patriotic House because I thought she would like it, more so than maybe some of my other little ones, but I thought she'd like that one. And she so sweetly called me out on her last video, so the video she's put up, I think it was May 28th, that video on Niecy Lynn on FlossTube. She called me out at the beginning of that and gave me a shout out. Thank you so much. She didn't get her printer isn't working, so she wasn't able to show the chart or the front cover of it, but thank you so much, Lacey. I really appreciate it, and I really hope you enjoy stitching it. as much as I have as well. So brilliant, thank you. So the next thing I got was actually just, as I said, I've got hardly any haul. I picked this up in, I think it was the supermarket. Yeah, it was the supermarket, and it's just a chopping board, axion holes as they call it, a Kanzian holes, which is that kind of olive tree wood, and it's just yeah, it's just a chopping board, but I thought it would be fab for yeah, mounting a piece, especially with the wee rims in it. So rip this off, and it was only a couple of euros. There you go. You see, I thought that would be quite nice. You could orientate it that way, orientate it that way. It's a bit like olive wood, so you can and it's quite hard and nice. And then you could even stick, if you wanted to play, you could stick one of these things on, or a command strip to hang it up on the wall. You know, it's not too hot. There, these ones are heat gluable, but I didn't want to glue them on with heat with that, so I just used a hot glue gun inside and some other glues as well. So that's pretty much it with my haul. I'm delighted to say that I've got a wholesale account with Zweigart and fabrics. So watch this space, because I will be selling Zweigart fabric in my little Etsy shop in the next month or so. I'm waiting on a big delivery from them. That'll be exciting to get that. And yeah, when it comes in bolts, it's going to be fun. You know, you get your big bolts of fabric and do that. And I might do a little bit of dyeing as well. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I think that's it. I'm not going to keep you very long, because the last video was ridiculously long. Vintage haul. Yeah, I've been blessed with so many little gifts and stunning gifts from this dear friend of mine, Andy. But this was one of them. I mean, I can't show them all in one video, literally. I've got another 2, 3 vintage samplers to show yet that are fabulous. But this little piece came, and he liked it because he loved the black and the cream. And I don't know whether it's a pattern. If you recognize it from anywhere, let me know. If you don't recognize it, then perhaps I'll reproduce it, because I wouldn't reproduce it without not trying to find it, you know, out there. But and I'm sorry that it's not ironed. But this is a wee vintage treasure. Isn't that pretty? On black with the cream, and it's pleasant hours fly fast. I just think that's so sweet. 2 ladies sitting down, probably having tea, maybe stitching. That lady looks like she's got some stitching in her hand. I just thought it could even be a frame, depending how you interpret it. But isn't that lovely? Or maybe they're just having tea under the trees in the garden. Isn't that cute? So he's a star, and that's on a I'm not sure what count. I'd say it's probably about a 32 count. I haven't counted the little threads yet, which I will do. Well, actually, there you go. Not sure. I'll sit down and count it properly, because I think actually whoever stitched this has actually missed a load of those. So I'll actually check the linen and see. But isn't that pretty? I think that's so cute. So an absolute delight. So that's my little video for today. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for all your well wishes and comments people have left, and comments people made on my video. Please do comment below, and let me know if you like 2021 Patriotic House and Home. And yeah, and head over to my Etsy store, check it out. I've only got a couple of patterns released yet, but working on them. And please do like and subscribe. It helps me loads and gives me lots of encouragement, which is really nice to know that you've got a subscribing sometimes feels like it's and a like feels like it's a little mini virtual hug. So thank you very much. And you take care now. And happy Memorial Weekend as well. And keep safe, and wishing everyone health and joy, and coming into summer, a really nice summer. Catch up with you soon. Okay, bye for now. Bye.